I had the chance to talk to Michael Phelps, the greatest, swimmer in mine and most other people's eyes ever.
Yeah.
Statistically as well,
No doubt. No doubt.
it's inarguable. And he'd been aware that I had swum in the past and was a swimmer in the past, and he knows my dad who swam, and I first started talking to him when I was considering getting back in the pool, probably last year. And I just, I had a simple question of like, hey, if I did this, how long do you think it would take for me to, how many dedicated years of training do you think it would take for me to reach, or reach my fullest potential? And he said 4 years. And so that's when I started kind of, calculating in my head what years those 4 years would be for me, and how I would execute them. But his and my relationship just grew kind of as I started training, and we started kind of communicating back and forth, and him just kind of checking in on how I was doing, and me having obviously certain questions and not concerns, but wanting certain advice here and there.
Yeah.
And so that that relationship, I'm very lucky, just kind of developed over time, and he's kind of turned into somewhat of a mentor, which is beyond anything I could have dreamed of as a kid. Because growing up, he was like my computer screensaver, like
Yeah.
doing butterfly like this in Beijing. Like I was 11, I think, at when the Beijing Olympics were happening, and that was like my first year. I was at first national championships and stuff like that. And so he was just, and is that figure to me in the sport. So it was pretty awesome that I can kind of just text with him. Yeah.
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 And then another legend, Ian Thorpe, you've had a chance, you've known him for a little while, but you've also had a chance to kind of utilize him as a mentor in this past 5 months as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Him obviously being, in Australian swimming, the guy, and growing up, idolizing him immensely too. Having the chance to chat with him has been unreal, and everything from just personal to swimming advice, in terms of how he handled the public aspect of the sport so well, and so nobly, and that's something that Phelps talked about too in his book that I read, No Limits. Was he studied Ian from the public aspect and the press side of it too, and how like nobly and how professionally Ian always handled that stuff, was something that Phelps had said, like Bob Bowman, his coach, had encouraged him to study, as well, and just like taking all that stuff in stride. And I'm aware that in the position I'm in, kind of coming from success in a different realm to moving into a very different space, a very different kind of profession, athletics and swimming, or sorry, athletics and creative fields like music have similarities, but they're also extremely different in their lifestyles and all that. I understand there's going to be a lot of judgment, there's going to be a lot of interest as well occasionally, and so just like learning how to kind of deal with that and take it all in stride, and learning how to perform under that kind of pressure too.
Yeah.
The big
Yeah.
thing.